good to see you, Lobito.
Good to see you too, man.
I think the last time was at the W during my album listening party, wasn't it?
That's right. That's right. That was a great event, man. And congrats again on the launch.
And thanks for supporting me, man.
Of course.
I mean, it sort of goes a long way when creatives come out to support one another, in Dubai. So what have you been working on since then, man?
My latest project, which I've been working in conjunction, is the Turntable DJ Academy. So that's a joint venture for me to try to bring a certain, more of an international level of education for DJs. So I took the decision to name it Turntable DJ Academy because the turntable is the foundation of DJing. But for me, we're obviously going to teach all forms of DJ equipment. But I think, having taught established DJs as well as newcomers, they're all just different routes to the same goal. So the main thing is basically to get people interested in the art form, give them a head start, allow them to really learn the foundation, get them to actually try different forms of equipment, not just the equipment that they're used to. So get a controller DJ using turntables, show a turntable DJ what's possible with controllers, because digital DJing offers a lot of tools and interesting things that you can use as well. So I think that's really the message. So, DJing has multiple layers. It's a deep culture, because music is as deep as the cultures that created it, and it's the same with DJing. So if you learn to DJ in Jamaica, you have a completely different approach. You're basically learning all the kind of sound system culture is kind of already embedded, and the kind of setup of the systems is already embedded in the culture. It's not just showing up with your controller, for example. And then, if you come from a hip-hop background, which is my background, then you learn turntablism, you go deep back into the roots of the music that started hip-hop, if you're really into it. So, it's like all the samples, all the original breaks from the 70s, and all the b-boy culture and the breaking culture. There's so many layers to it. So for me, Turntable DJ Academy is really an entry point for DJs to start to scratch the surface of a very deep culture and be able to help them do that and engage. Some international DJs are going to come over as well to help support the project.
Have you fixed a date for this event already, or?
So this is going to be a school. So it's going to launch from next month. Obviously, all schools are closed right now, so we're just waiting for things to settle down. But we're also going to be doing remote teaching and things like that, and offering classes.
Are you working with other DJs who are based in the UAE specifically, apart from those who want to sign up? For the educational
100%.
aspect.
I mean, for me, this project, I also want to have a strong community aspect to it, to try and bring DJs like very well-known DJs in the UAE, like Brooklyn, etc. Have them come in to be able to share some knowledge, make it a vehicle as well for DJs to connect, support each other, learn new things. Because Brooklyn actually mentioned, and I live by this as always being a student. So even if I'm starting the school, I'm a student. All of us are. We're learning all the time, and then it's how deep you want to take your craft. So really, it's we're teaching, but we're learning. You can learn from a beginner DJ. Sometimes they'll do something unexpected, and you're like, wow.
As a veteran in the game, in DJing, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Lobito is probably one of the most successful DJs in the UAE, right?
Thank you.
My pleasure. In your opinion as a veteran, would you say that there is a lot for digital DJs to learn from people like you who still do turntables?
100%. I mean, but I do it in a very holistic way. So, there's a lot of DJs of a certain generation who I would describe as very salty, who basically don't really know how to engage with youth, or just come off as straight up abrasive. And so they can put a lot of people off. So for me, it's more about kind of trying to find the common ground and then introducing it. But obviously, sometimes you have to just tell people if it's wrong, it's wrong. You know what I mean? But of course, digital DJs, a lot of the time, they haven't had the experience of really digging for records and going through crates and spending the time in building their selection. So for example, like with me, I would go to a record store and I might come out with, 50 records. But at the time, I wouldn't necessarily have the money to buy all 50. So
Right.
then I have to be like, it has to be just killer, no filler. And that process of selection is kind of lost on a lot of digital DJs because they'll take everything because it's
Yeah.
a digital download. So it's
Yeah.
like you have everything on your hard drive. But then you can get lost in that. Then your selection is not as precise.
Do you know what? It's ironic that you said that because I was at an event and I was talking to a particular DJ, and the DJ that was mixing at the time just switched from one genre to something very strange. And she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, MKO, but it's just that I have this habit of listening to DJs when they do their thing." And I think it comes from discipline, right? Because for most turntable DJs, they have that discipline. They already know how best to switch from one music to the other. And does that have to do with the fact that you find a lot of the old content on turntables compared to new music?
I think it's more to do with your knowledge of music. So really taking time to appreciate the structure of songs, understand which kind of songs go together,
Right.
finding like common themes. You could play an old funk record and then it has a drum break. You could loop that drum break and then that's the drum break that is a perfect transition into a hip hop record that sampled that drum break.
Right.
You could, instead of throwing that hip hop record on, you could throw an a cappella, and that could be your way into another genre. This is an infinite way of mixing genres and styles and things like that. So it's not really to do with, I think turntable DJs are more oral
Right.
instead of visual.
Right.
Digital DJs are focused a lot on what's happening on the screen a lot of the time.
Gotcha.
And so I think when you have that natural, or you build that natural sensitivity of how things work on an audio level rather than a visual level, you naturally can mix a little bit with a little more sensitivity often.
How can people connect with your institution? Because I'm not a DJ, but I feel like I've been able to take away quite a few information from you today. So how can people get connected?
Yeah, sure. So the Turntable DJ Academy, you can find it online. Just Google it. It's basically a joint venture between myself and SAE Institute.
Oh, right. Okay.
You can go to SAE Dubai on Instagram. You can call SAE Dubai and they'll give you information. And then we're planning to start classes and all of these things.
And how can people connect to your Instagram?
So it's Lobito Brigante, which sounds, sometimes can be a bit difficult because I'm of Spanish descent.
Right.
So Lobito Brigante on Instagram, or you can just probably Google Lobito Dubai and you'll find a route to me. But
All right.